If you're apathetic about intellectual property, that's fine. But if you feel that stealing intellectual property is okay, fuck you. Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm gonna preface everything here with I am not a lawyer. If you want a lawyer's opinion, recommend some down in the comments and we'll try to get one scheduled for an upcoming podcast where we talk a little bit further about it. But recently, actually this past weekend, we had a podcast. It was a solo episode. It was Easter weekend. It's always hard to book guests on the holidays, where I talked a lot about intellectual property, a lot deeper than we're going to go in today. Some things occurred there, and we'll card to it, so if you guys want to go watch the whole thing, you can. It's about an hour and a half long, but there's a lot of good conversation there. Make sure you watch the comments as well. The comments are going to obviously play a big role here. But something that came up right at the end that I want to start with, and I like to build on a little bit, is from Joseph Greiner, who says the biggest problem with Creative Commons is the fact that the community has to enforce it. And 3D printing doesn't really have a community. I'm going to agree and disagree a little bit, but the one thing I'm not going to disagree with is my segue to our sponsor, 3D Musketeers. You could have seen this one coming from a mile away. I'm sorry, I have to do these things. It helps the business grow, and if the business grows, we're able to produce more videos. You guys know how this works. And if you want to support us here at 3D Musketeers, you can do so at patreon.com/3D Musketeers. Links will be down in the description below. But if you're looking to get some awesome custom 3D printed parts made, you can hit up the pros at 3D Musketeers. They have almost 40 printers to help you go from art to part as quickly and efficiently as possible. I don't want to make the CTA too long, so like, subscribe, all those things. Let's keep talking about IP here. So let's talk about this community thing a little bit. There is a community here in the 3D printing industry, except it's very much fragmented, whereas a lot of communities are kind of surrounding one major thing. And yes, the major thing here is 3D printing, but it seems like it's very difficult to kind of get the community to move in any direction unless they feel personally attacked. And when companies go and they patent things and they lock things down that makers can no longer use, the industry feels personally attacked, and therefore they get their claws out and they dig in on potentially an unsuspecting company. Slice Engineering was at the problem end of that stick when they first released the Mosquito Hot, and we actually talked to Dan from Slice Engineering in a recent podcast episode where we touched about this. He's got some interesting thoughts on it. We'll card to that video so you guys can take a look. And I'm not necessarily certain that the industry gave Slice a fair chance, but it wasn't my call. I'm just one guy after all. But I think Joseph is right here that the community is so fragmented that it's tough to get them around a singular subject. And if there is one that I want the community to hear about, it is intellectual property and how it matters and why it matters. Before we get too far into it, IP is way deeper than what we're about to cover, and I cover it a lot further in the podcast. Go listen to that if you want more. But I'm going to scratch the surface here regarding what Creality is doing and some of the other legal issues that Creality is dealing with. And we're going to touch at Honda right at the end. So stay tuned here. So it was first brought to my attention because of my buddy Shane, along with Stian. Hope I get that right. I'm not even going to try the middle and last name there, but everyone knows him as Eggbiz. Makes the awesome toys inside the egg models. We just past Easter. It's the best time of the year to be printing those models, but they're really great models to print no matter what. He has been saying that he is so tired of fighting Creality Cloud and stolen models. Now they're even promoting his Hinge Cube stolen and re-uploaded by somebody else. They have reported countless stolen models, commented and DM'd, and nothing happens. I want to start off with that is not okay. But the big problem is enforcement. Similar to how with a patent, if you don't protect it and you don't enforce it, it is worthless. And if you don't have the ability to protect it in certain countries, it's worthless in those countries. I have a feeling we're dealing with this with Creality. But to give you guys an idea, this is not just something that is a one-time deal, right? Where they've just kind of stolen some models. Maybe they're trying to drive a little bit of traffic to their website. No, actually, Artec, yes, the company who we have 3D scanners from, is actually suing Creality over their Kickstarter of the CR Scan Lizard. We'll link to the whole docket down below so you guys can see it, but to give you an idea, we've got 6 different filings here, different motions. I mean, literally, it is 24 pages, and it's a lot of reading, but the TLDR is Creality is kind of known for IP theft. It's been no secret that they've been doing this. We've all kind of known it. And a lot of the communities kind of let them slide because, oh, they make cheap 3D printers. Well, let me be the first to say, and I'm calling out all the other influencers out there as well. Until Creality gets their shit together with intellectual property, I'm refusing to review any Creality products on our channel, period. And hilariously, there are a few that I have to do reviews on. Guess they're not going to get those reviews until they get their shit together because, well, that's just the way things go sometimes. If that means I burn a relationship with them, I'm fine with that. Because if a company's not going to respect other creators in this industry, digital or otherwise, then I can't exactly be someone that puts their name behind them either. So, you guys do what you want with that. But what's going on here is Artec is going after Creality because of their Kickstarter, the CR Scan Lizard. A lot of you guys know this thing. I was gonna show you the Kickstarter page, but it is subject to intellectual property dispute and is currently unavailable. And this intellectual property is not just over the name of the software that Creality uses, the Creality Studio, which is identical to the name of Artec Studio, which is copywritten and trademarked, but also Artec is making a claim that Creality not only poached people from them, which happens, right? That's kind of all unfair in love and war, if you will, but those people brought source data over to the point of where Artec is providing substantial detail into what that source data is. It is detailed out here in the initial affidavit. This is public record. It's a docket. This is an actual freaking court case. It appears that I said, oh, okay, well, you know, sometimes companies aren't the coolest with each other. I guess I'll see how this plays out. But after seeing the fact that they're stealing from creators like this appears to be a pattern. And I've got a problem with that. You can see that Stian first reached out to them almost a year ago, on May 29th of 2021, that someone had stolen his surprise egg models, and it was even put out in their newsletter, and nothing was done about it. People like Stian, while they give away these models totally for free, they own the rights to it. If you are here going to be creating a model, no matter what it is, something that is digital that you want to present out to the community, if somebody else steals it, they're stealing food off your plate. Even if you're giving it away for free, there is press and other faces that see your work that might kick you a couple of bucks, the creator fund. And we're going to link to as many of these creators down below as we can. If you have utilized Creality's cloud software and found other creators that are on there, comment them. Don't link to them because YouTube will kick that stuff out, but comment them. I will find links like their Patreons and stuff, and I'll post them all in the description so you guys can go support the companies and individuals that Creality is stealing from, because that kind of thing pisses me off, and it should upset you guys as well. When you look at modelers like Photos Mint, Wexter, Toymaker 3D, Printed Obsessions, Gambody, Titan Forge, Prime One Studio, and so many others that Shane has taken the time to go through and find. A lot of these people are selling models over on Patreon, or they're providing models in exchange for support for the work that they do. When you upload those models to sites, Creality Cloud or otherwise, without the permission of the creator of those files, you are stealing from those creators. And yes, some of those creators do create fan art of copywritten and trademark stuff. Quite literally, we're printing a time lapse behind me. We'll put it on the screen so you guys can see it, of a bus from Diablo. Is that protected by intellectual property? Yes, it actually is. So where do we as makers draw that line? I don't pay for the files. We support creators. We get access to models because of that support. It's a very gray area, but what I believe Creality is doing here is blatant black and white stealing. But this brings up the point of, well, Grant, if you say that we don't really have a community, what can us, the community that is paying attention to you, do. Never use their site. In fact, if you're trying to go to their site and you've clicked the link in the description that says it goes to Creality Cloud, you'll realize I've rickrolled you. You're welcome. Because if you've listened this far, you probably realize that Creality Cloud is not a place you'd want to be anyways. In fact, I missed it in our repository rundown, which we'll card to, because it never showed up in searches, so I'll take it. But as someone that was just assisting a first-time Ender 3 user who had downloaded Creality Cloud as a means to get files and didn't understand that some of the models they were looking at were stolen, an average individual may not know the difference. If we look at Creality Cloud, we can see that they have a token system. Unfortunately, you can't figure out what the tokens cost without making an account, and I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to give them my information. But the problem that I see here is that people can upload models that they've stolen from others and charge people on Creality Cloud. Creality is a Chinese-based company, and no offense to Chinese-based companies, this is a statistical accuracy, intellectual property, DMCA, and some of the other laws and rules and things that we've all come to enjoy as makers just simply don't apply in China. And if Creality Cloud does maintain servers inside the United States or other countries that utilize DMCA or GPDR laws, you might have a case to go after them legally. But if there's one thing that's kind of uniquely problematic about makers is a lot of us don't have a ton of money, and going after a company like Creality is quite literally cost prohibitive. And when people are stealing from you and uploading to Creality, they're making it more cost prohibitive to you because you are losing sales. Shane has taken a huge weight here and has named a lot of creators that have had their models stolen. Maybe some of them did upload them, but from what we can tell, there are so many stolen models on Creality Cloud. And in the live stream, Fotisman was chiming in, one of my favorite designers. In fact, we print his pieces all the time. Chimed in and said, I just don't care anymore, Grant. I just don't care. And it's that kind of apathy that really upsets me. And it's not Fotis's fault. He can't sit here and be pissed off all the time. But we as makers, as creators, as consumers, as 3D printers have to band together and say enough is enough. Fan art is one thing. I can look beyond fan art, but direct and utter theft. When Fotis's models are stolen, when Wexter's models are stolen, when Gam bodies, or even Biz, sure. Whenever his models are stolen, that's blatant theft. Taking any amount of profit, exposure, acknowledgement, whatever that they might be able to receive off their plate. But it's interesting because Honda just took a pretty hard stance on intellectual property. Honda said, we don't want anything surrounding Honda on any of the websites. And Printables was one of the first ones they had hit, which formerly was prusaprinters.org. Now it's Printables. Printables, great name. Love the rebrand. I'm going to continually say that. And it is currently an ongoing situation because a lot of these things that people have are absolutely falling within the textbook definition of fair use. It is transformative in some nature. It is not being sold as a for-profit item. It is being given away in Creative Commons. However, Honda does have a legal right to protect their intellectual property. One of that being their logo. And a lot of people are using the Honda name, the Honda logo, all of which are trademarked and copyrighted to the brand of Honda. So does Honda have the legal right to... Yes, they're not wrong. They're just being assholes. And while I can't exactly fault them, I'm not a huge fan of the blanket takedown. They're, as far as I can tell, pretty much okay to do this legally, but I can tell you as a Honda owner, as someone that has utilized 3D printed parts on my car because, oh yeah, Honda, it's 20 years old and you don't make parts for it anymore, so how else do you want me to get parts for my car? And I have 3D printers and I can do this kind of stuff. It does kind of rub me the wrong way. I think that when you look at companies like Ford that just released the Maverick with the fit system. Actually, Joel Telling the 3D Printing Nerd did a great little video on the Maverick, a truck that I'm really interested in getting. We'll card to Joel's video so you can take a look at it. Ford says 3D print all the things, dude. We don't friggin' care. This is awesome. We want people to integrate into the fit system. Honda said, no, nope, sorry, no. And they issued a blanket cease and desist and DMCA takedown request for all models involving Honda on printables.com. And here's something that is of note. In fact, many of the removed parts had no Honda branding and were just compatible with Honda vehicles. As it turns out, Persis says it was issued a takedown notice from Honda and removed all 3D models that reference the brand. They likely did a Control F and then delisted anything that had Honda in it at all. This is still ongoing, so we'll see what the end result is. I would guess that anything regarding the Honda name is going to be nuked because they can do that. But if it says it's compatible with Honda and there's like the registered trademark thing, maybe they'll be able to get away with that. We'll see what happens. But in Creality's world, they're not doing any of that. And when they're being met with people sending cease and desist, sending DMCA takedown requests, sending copyright infringement notices, they are falling on deaf ears. We have problems with theft. We recognize that it happens all the time. And we recognize that most websites have no issue dealing with it, right? You send a DMCA, they're like, oh yeah, that is definitely yours. Removed. Creality says, what? These are our models. Yeah, we downloaded them from a website that definitely had your name on it, but they're ours now. Screw you. Unfortunately, there are always bad apples in this community, and people that are uploading models that they don't own, shame on you. That's not okay. The bystander effect is a problem, and this is exactly what the bystander effect looks like. One person says, I need help, and nobody else gives a shit. And I know that everybody makes mistakes. I have certainly bought products from companies that absolutely infringe on IP. And I did not know the consequences of my actions until it was too late. I'm here saying that I'm making a change and I've made changes. And I'm asking you, the community, to make a change with me, to stand up and say we need to fight for things. Specifically, I would love the assistance of Naomi Wu. I would love for you all to somehow get her attention and have her take a look at this video. I'm gonna DM her on Twitter as well, assuming I can, because she's actually pretty well poised to deal with this problem. She does have a previous relationship with Creality. Not sure how that ended, but as far as I'm aware, there is no longer a relationship regarding the CR30, the Naomi Wu print mill. But she speaks the native language. She clearly knows where they're located. And if there's anyone that I think can make that statement and have it not fall upon deaf ears, I think it's Naomi. Whether you love her or you hate her, I don't particularly care. If you think you're better suited than Naomi, let me know down in those comments because I need help. My voice is not that big. And I don't know if there are going to be a lot of other content creators talking about this. And I would call on you guys to share it out to your channels. I've tried sharing things on like Reddit and Facebook, but nobody likes that kind of thing and it feels weird. So I'm calling on you guys to help me out here. We need to get this blatant disregard for intellectual property dealt with. Creality has a track record of doing this quite literally. We can see it right here. We can see that there are patents, copyrights, and trademarks that Creality is actively violating for Artec, or at least allegedly violating. And we have clear, blatant examples of them doing it to creators like Stian and others. I've got a problem with this, and I think you should too. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'm trying not to make this video all that ranty, and I think I kind of gotta call it here. I want to have a conversation down in those comments with you guys. I want to know your thoughts about this. If you've watched this video this far, hit those comments, or at least read through what other people have to say, because I'm not the end-all be-all here. If you are an IP lawyer and you want to talk about this, please hit me up. I would love to have another conversation about these specific problems and what can actually be done for a company that hides behind a country that just doesn't care about IP. So what am I going to do about this? I'm never going to use Creality Cloud. I never have and never will, and I don't think you should either. And I'm also going to do my best to not showcase Creality products on this channel moving forward. We will not be recommending any Creality products to be purchased. We will be looking at things from brands like Elegoo, Voxel Lab, and others that are not utilizing the Creality brand. Sure, they might basically be under threes, but I can actively not give money to companies that are ignoring intellectual property, because this isn't the first time, and it's probably not going to be the last. I could really use your guys' help on this one. I'll see you all down in the comments. But stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones. And as always, keep making awesome. Have a good one. Help me, 3D printing community. You're my only hope. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. And if you're looking for something else to watch, right below me is going to be one of our original talks about intellectual property with David Stein. And I want to give a massive thank you to all of our Patreon and YouTube channel member supporters whose names are listed right next to me at the $5 tier and higher. If you are looking to support the channel, you can do so at patreon.com/3dmusketeers, where you can support us for as little as $1 a month. And right next to that will be a video chosen especially just for you. I will see you guys down in those comments and in the next one. Take care.